Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janaballabha Giridharidhari Gopi Janaballabha Giridharidhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Gopi Janaballabha Giridharidhari Jaya Gopi Janaballabha Giridharidhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jai Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jai Giri Govardhan Jai Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jai Giri Govardhan Go Premanandi Giriraj Maharaj Ki Gyana Chimadandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshun Militang Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Let us approach the topic of the pastime of lifting Govardhan Hill, first of all through Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In the 14th chapter of Anchalila of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, you read about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu walking on the beach with his associates at Jagannath Puri. Anything that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu does is not ordinary. Everything is infinitely saturated with love of Krishna, because Lord Chaitanya is Krishna himself coming to experience what it's like to be a devotee of Krishna. Coming himself, he's Krishna himself coming to experience how Radharani loves Krishna. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as most of you know, is a combination of Radha and Krishna. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahe Anya. So Mahaprabhu is walking on the beach at Puri, and suddenly he sees a great sand dune named Chataka Parvata. And immediately he sees Govardhan Hill. And he begins to run towards the sand dune at the speed of the wind. His servant sees that Mahaprabhu has taken off at such a speed, running toward the sand dune. So his servant Govinda follows, and then the other Vaishnavas, one after another, realize what's going on, and they all start to run after Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So the question is Mahaprabhu mistaken? Has he erred by confusing a sand dune on the beach at Jagannath Puri with Govardhan Hill? What do you think? You see, the topmost reality is love. Love creates the reality. So in feelings of separation from Krishna, in pure love of Krishna, Mahaprabhu is not wrong. Everything can remind him of the presence of the beloved. Just like a mother may see the shoes of her baby child, and immediately she thinks of the child. Is that a mistake? Every parent will understand that the foremost reality is love and affection for the children or one's spouse. So similarly, Krishna is the supreme beloved of Srimati Radharani. And so Lord Chaitanya, just by seeing a great sand dune, can mistake it for Govardhan Hill. But that's not really a mistake. On the highest level, it's not a mistake. Because the topmost level of reality is Krishna Prema, love of Krishna. So someone may say, well, factually this is wrong. The sand dune, the Chataka Parvat, is not Govardhan Hill. But then you've missed the point of the ultimate reality. The ultimate reality is pure love of Krishna. That transcends even empirical reality, what you can perceive with your limited mind and senses. So Mahaprabhu is racing after the sand dune, Chataka Parvat. And suddenly he stops, stunned, as all 8 ecstatic symptoms break out in his body all at once. Chaitanya Charitamrita states that not even Lord Brahma can understand the full effect of the ecstatic symptoms manifested by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he has been running at the speed of the wind, and suddenly he stops. And his whole body is shaking. His whole body turns white as a conch shell. His golden form, Gaura Hari, turns white as a conch shell. And all the 8 ecstatic symptoms erupt in his body. He's shaking and quivering. And then he collapses to the ground. So the devotees catch up with him. And when they see his transcendental form laying on the sand, and it's erupted into all these ecstatic symptoms, which to ordinary vision can look very frightening. The devotees, of course, they know these are ecstatic symptoms, but still they're aggrieved to see them. And they start to cry. And so they think how to revive the external consciousness of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who has collapsed on the ground at the foot of the great sand dune known as Chataka Parvat. So they sprinkle water on him. They fan him with their cloths. But Mahaprabhu is still completely absorbed in ecstatic trance of love of Krishna. Lord Chaitanya has 3 states of consciousness: external, internal, and in between. So now he's totally in internal consciousness. And what is he absorbed in? What is he thinking about in this consciousness? We'll find out when the devotees are finally able to arouse Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu halfway to midway between external and internal consciousness. Not completely in the external consciousness of the perception of the ordinary world. So the devotees are chanting Hare Krishna, making a loud kirtan. And all of a sudden Mahaprabhu partially awakens from internal consciousness, as we said, to the midway point between internal and external. He awakens and calls out, Hari Bol! Hari Bol! And all the devotees, they're so happy that he's coming back, not completely, but he's coming back to a consciousness that he can deal with them. And so they all happily shout, Hari! 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 And then they notice Mahaprabhu is looking around. Where is it? Where is it? Where am I? And he's looking for something. And then he begins to explain. I was at Govardhan Hill, and as I was standing at Govardhan Hill, I saw Krishna and the cowherd boys coming onto Govardhan Hill, and Krishna was playing his flute. And then at another place on Govardhan Hill, I saw Srimati Radharani and the gopis. And then there was a cave on Govardhan Hill, and Krishna and Srimati Radharani entered the cave. And some of the gopis indicated to me, pick some flowers for the divine couple. As I was doing that, I heard this loud sound, and I was awakened and saw you all. What happened? And then Mahaprabhu began to cry. I had a chance to see Krishna and his pastimes. I had a chance and I lost it. And he's crying so piteously. And all the devotees are also crying. Then some elder associates of Mahaprabhu, Paramananda Puri and Brahmananda Bharati, elder sannyasis, they were moving at a slower pace than the younger devotees. And so they had just caught up to the scene. And because they're his respective elders, Mahaprabhu fully came into external consciousness out of respect for the elders. And he asked them, why have you come? And they said, just to see your dancing, my Lord. But Mahaprabhu felt a little embarrassed, having shown such a display of ecstatic symptoms, but here were his reverential seniors. So in that way, Mahaprabhu went back to his home for lunch. So again, the question is, in this extraordinary scene, is Mahaprabhu right or is he wrong? To think that a sand dune on the beach of Puri is Govardhan Hill. No, as we said, the highest reality, the ultimate reality is pure love. Sometimes people say love makes the world go round, or love is everything, or God is love, but they have no idea how that can actually be so. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is showing you. He just saw an ordinary sand dune, and it reminded him of Govardhan Hill so much that he saw Govardhan Hill. Oh, I'm in the land of Braj. This is Giriraj Maharaj. That's the power of pure love of Krishna. So we want to look at a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 21, verse 18. It's also there in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. I know many of you in the congregation are studying Prabhupada's books. That's very good. And you know that Bhagavatam is the graduate study to Bhagavad Gita, and Chaitanya Charitamrita is the postgraduate study. Just like when you get your PhD, after that you can do postdoc. So Chaitanya Charitamrita is postdoc. It's the most advanced Vaishnava literature. So, this verse is quoted in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is full of Sanskrit verses, and they're explained in the Bengali vernacular. And Chaitanya Charitamrita is considered to be, even from the material point of view, it's considered to be a literary classic. So I hope that all of our members have Chaitanya Charitamrita, the full set, in their home. Yes, you have to read Bhagavatam first, but still right now you can have Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita in your home. So this verse is spoken by the gopis as they're in the forest in Vrindavan and talking about Krishna's flute. And Actually, if you drill down deeper into the details, this verse is spoken by Srimati Radharani about Govardhan Hill. Hantayam adhir abala haridasya bharyo. Haridasa bharyo. Yad Rama Krishna charana sparasha pramoda. Manang tanoti sahago ganayos tayoryat. Pani asuya vasa kundara kandamulai. Translation. Of all the devotees, this Govardhan Hill is the best. Oh, my friends, this hill supplies Krishna and Balarama, along with their calves, cows, and cowherd friends, with all kinds of necessities. Water for drinking, very soft grass, caves, fruits, flowers, and vegetables. In this way, the hill offers respects to the Lord. Being touched by the lotus feet of Krishna and Balarama, Govardhan Hill appears very jubilant. So this verse is describing Giri Govardhan as the servant of the Supreme Lord. You may recall from the start of the Govardhan Leela how little Krishna wanted to know from Nanda Maharaj, why are you making all these complicated, gorgeous arrangements? What's the purpose? Is it some tradition? What's the objective of all these arrangements? Krishna, of course, knew, but he's provoking the situation because he wants to diminish the pride of Indra, and he wants to establish that this is Vrindavan, my personal neighborhood. We don't honor the demigods beyond the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he wants to clearly establish in Braj pure bhakti. So he's provoking the situation. Oh, Father, what's happening? Why are all these ingredients being gathered? What's all the fuss? What's going on? Father, you think I'm not able to understand? You think it's too complicated for me? Or, Father, perhaps you think it's a secret. But no one keeps secrets among family members. So you know the dialogue that ensued. How Krishna spoke atheistic philosophy to accomplish his purpose. Why worship Indra? The rains come automatically. Because Nanda Maharaj had said what? Our whole village prosperity depends on fresh grass for the cows. And the fresh grass comes from the rains. And the rain comes from Indra. So the prosperity of our whole village depends on Indra. And so therefore every year we do this Indra Puja. So many of you already know how Krishna spoke convincingly in an atheistic way. Of course, we can hear Krishna Leela again and again, and it's ever fresh. That's the sign that we're making spiritual advancement. When the pastimes of Krishna appear newer and newer. This is what Shukadeva Goswami told Parikshit Maharaj at the beginning of the 10th canto. You are an advanced devotee because to you the pastimes of Krishna are appearing ever fresh. So many of you know the details of this Govardhan Leela, but we never get enough of hearing about it, speaking about it. So one of the arguments that Krishna gave to his father was, Why do we need to worship Indra for rain? Rain not only falls on the grass in Braj, but it also falls on the rivers and the oceans, and they don't do yagya. They don't do anything for Indra. So why do we need to do it? Nanda Maharaj wanted to compromise, yes? He said, all right, you want us to worship Govardhan Hill, because Krishna had said, take all the paraphernalia meant for worshiping Indra and use it to worship Govardhan Hill. Govardhan Hill is the real source of our prosperity. As this verse in Bhagavatam says, it provides Krishna and Balaram, the calves, the cows, and cowherd friends with all kinds of necessities. Water for drinking, very soft grass, caves, fruits, flowers, vegetables. In this way, the hill offers respects to the Lord. So Krishna is making the case to his father that our prosperity depends on Govardhan Hill. So let's worship Govardhan Hill. Take all the ingredients, all the resources meant for the Indra Puja and use it for Govardhan Hill, for Govardhan Puja. So what did his father say? My dear boy, all right, we'll do both. We'll do the Indra Puja and we'll do the Govardhan Puja. And what was Krishna's response? Govardhan Puja gets all the resources, all the ingredients. Krishna is establishing the worship of Govardhan Hill as the topmost, and he's putting Indra in his little place. So you all know that. So let's talk about the ingredients available at Govardhan Hill. There are caves where Krishna and Balaram and their cowherd boyfriends meet to be cool in the summer and to be warm in the winter and to be out of the rain. And of course there are caves where Krishna has his confidential pastimes with his gopis. And there is soft grass, which is suitable for three purposes: for yagya, and for feeding the cows and calves, and for the cowherd boys and Krishna to sit on. There are all kinds of juices from the fruits, especially mango. And there is flowing water from the waterfalls. And that water is used by Krishna to wash his hands and mouth and also to quench his thirst. So in this way, Govardhan is supplying all these opulences for the pleasure of Krishna and Balaram and his associates. It provides jewels. It provides sitting places. There are stones shaped like sitting places. There are stones that serve the purpose of mirrors. You can see yourself on them. All this is given by Govardhan Hill. And so therefore, in this prayer, in this statement from Bhagavatam, the gopis are saying, Haridas Varya. This, of all the servitors of Krishna, Govardhan Hill is the best. This term, Haridas, is used 3 times in Bhagavatam. Servant of Hari. One time it's used for Yudhisthira Maharaj. Another time it's used for Parikshit Maharaj. But here it's being used for Govardhan Hill and Haridas Varya, the best of the Haridasas. At the same time, Krishna revealed himself to be Govardhan Hill. When, during the Govardhan Puja, when all the offerings were being made to Giri Govardhan, Krishna is down at the base of Govardhan Hill with the cowherd men and cowherd boys and all the Brajbasis. And what does he do? He points to the top of Govardhan Hill. Look, look, Do you see what's on top of the hill? Govardhan Hill has taken a transcendental form. Let's all bow down to that transcendental form. In this way, Krishna is instructing the Brajbasis to bow down to that form on top of Govardhan Hill, which is Krishna. So Krishna is offering obeisances to himself and having everyone bow down. And everyone bows down, and then they offer pranams with their hands over their head, and Namo, Namo, I offer my obeisances. So in this way, Krishna is showing that Govardhan Hill is the best servant, and also that Govardhan Hill is Krishna himself. Both realities are there. So we're thinking about how Govardhan Hill offers all kinds of facilities and resources for the pleasure of Krishna and Balaram, the calves, the cows, and their associates. You have to consider with mercy and compassion the Samvartika clouds. The clouds that are usually present when it's time for the complete cosmic annihilation. They were sent by Indra to destroy Vrindavan. Indra told them because they were hesitating a little bit. Yes, we usually annihilate the whole universe by pouring down inconceivable amounts of rain. Sometimes people in Australia are thinking maybe that there's Samvartika clouds, so much rain. But that's nothing compared to what the Samvartika clouds do at the end of the cosmos. So, still they were hesitating. Attack Vrindavan? Isn't that place special? But Indra pushed them on with his ego. Don't worry about it. You're used to destroying a whole universe. What to speak of destroying a little village? Those people in Vrindavan have been listening to a talkative little child who convinced them not to do my puja. Now they will see the result. So for 7 days, the Samvartika clouds raged. But they could not inflict any damage on Govardhan Hill. So you know how Krishna lifts Govardhan Hill. He doesn't have to develop mystic power. He doesn't have to grow up to become stronger. At every step, every phase of his life, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I like how Srila Prabhupada says it. Krishna doesn't become God by the mystic factory. His supremacy as the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not manufactured in some kind of mystic factory. He doesn't have to do mystic yoga. Always, eternally, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So as he lifted Govardhan Hill, he told the cowherd people, come under the hill. Don't worry about the rain that's soaking the land. Because, you see, as Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill, the big stones at the bottom of the hill fell and formed a perimeter wall around a valley under Govardhan Hill. So the water that was saturating all around couldn't enter under Govardhan Hill because these big rocks at the bottom of the hill had fallen in such a way that they made a perfect perimeter wall. And underneath Govardhan Hill was so luxurious. There were fields of grains, there were grasses, pastures for the cows. So it was not like the Brajbasis were suffering in some kind of emergency evacuation center. Life was wonderful under Govardhan Hill. And what is the greatest wonder of all as they were under Govardhan Hill? Staring at Krishna. Everyone got a chance to stare at Krishna according to their particular rasa. The elders could stare at Krishna with Vatsalya Prem, parental love. Krishna's friends could stare at him in Sakya Rasa, pure friendship. And of course, the young girls of Vrindavan, they were staring and in a different way. And sometimes they would say jokes. You know, young girls, they often joke with one another, yes? So they joked. They said to Srimati Radharani, now don't you look at Krishna, because if he sees you looking at him, his hand is going to shake. Or they would say to another gopi, oh, better not let Krishna see you because you have such a beautiful form. You'll upset him as he holds Govardhan Hill. Meanwhile, Krishna's friend, Madhu Mangal, is trying to convince Mother Yashoda that actually Krishna's not holding up Govardhan Hill, so she doesn't have to worry. It's the cowherd boys who have their sticks and they're holding up Govardhan Hill. But Mother Yashoda doesn't believe that. She's worried. She sees with her motherly vision, and as you know, mothers see things that others don't. Mother Yashoda sees perspiration on Krishna's face. She sees his hair becoming in disarray. She sees fatigue. And she's calling out, oh, Krishna, you're becoming weak, you're becoming fatigued. And what does Krishna say? Mother, you don't understand. Govardhan Hill is floating in the air with its own power. Actually, Mother Yashoda doesn't ever believe that Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill. She thinks somehow it's Nanda Maharaj. Some other Nanda Maharaj did it. So life underneath Govardhan Hill was very luxurious in terms of comforts, resources. But the greatest luxury was the chance every resident of Vrindavan had to stare at Krishna's face to their full satisfaction and more. Meanwhile, outside of underneath Govardhan Hill, the Samvartika clouds are raging day after day, and they're getting exhausted. They go back to Indra, and he tells them, keep doing it, don't give up. It's just a little village with a talkative boy in charge. Of course, finally, they do give up. They're exhausted. So then Krishna tells the Brijbasis, you can safely go outside now. Everything will be fine. They look out and they see their houses are all shining because the rain has made the houses look even more beautiful. And then follows a great scene of appreciation for Krishna. As everyone, according to their stature, is embracing Krishna, offering the elders would embrace him, the equals would congratulate him, the juniors would fall at his feet offering obeisances, and especially the gopi girls of Vrindavan had the special opportunity. They could stare at Krishna without being corrected. Because everyone in the whole village is staring at Krishna, so they could get away with it now. So they took advantage of the opportunity. The young teenage girls were going to stare at Krishna and stare, and because everyone's looking at him, so no one will chastise us. So these are some of the glories of Govardhan Puja. Of course, we could go on for many days talking about the Govardhan Leela. But remember how we started. Because we approach Govardhan Hill, we approach Krishna through Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's the most successful way to understand Krishna. You've heard me explain before, and I mentioned it yesterday. There's so much confusion, especially in India, about who is Krishna. Is he one of the Devatas? Is he a myth? Is he the impersonal Brahman? Is he a cheater? Who is Krishna? There's so much confusion because people are not approaching Krishna through Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That is the sure way of success in the dense darkness of the age of Kali. So therefore the Chataka Parvat incident teaches us so many things. What is pure love? What is the power of pure love? What is the ultimate reality? The ultimate reality is Krishna Prema, pure love of Krishna. Therefore we say, Namo Mahabharanyaya, Krishna Prema Pradayate. Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya, Namane Gordase Namaha. What Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving in his life, in his teachings, in his distribution of love of Krishna is unparalleled, and there's no match for it because he is Krishna himself, giving out love of himself. Giriraj Maharaj ki! Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.